Hi, everybody. This is Lois Sonstegard and Joe Lee. We're with you again today. We are here today because we want to really dive into the detail. We want to make sure that you understand there's some real important pieces that are part of successful launch digitally. The first one is knowing who your audience is. Who is it that you're going to target? And you will say what I said, I'm sure. Of course, I know who my audience is. But let me be very clear and specific with you. I want to teach you everything you need to know. We're going to have down below a checklist for you of things that you really need to think through for developing your audience, because you need to do it in detail and correctly if you're going to have the power that you want to have. So I want you to take a sheet of paper, divide it in half or in quadrants. I usually do it in quadrants, but half is fine for right now. The left is for women, the right is for male. And you want to have in your mind a audience that is both for women and for men, unless you are very targeted. Some coaches are just targeted for women. That's fine. Then you don't need the two columns, right? But for many of us, we target both men and women. And so you want to divide the page in half and then have the left for women, the right for men. And this is what I want you to do in each of those columns. The very first one is, what's the age of the people that of your client, the people that you're going to work with? Are they in their 20s? Are they in their 30s? For this particular purpose, what Joe and I have identified is our audience is between 35 and 55 years of age. Why is that important? The examples we use are going to be age dependent, specific to you. We would give different examples if you were a 24-year-old, right? And so really knowing the age of your audience, as trite as that may seem, is hugely important. It will also be very important for you as you move down the road and you're doing ads on Facebook, because they'll ask you the age of your audience. And if you aren't knowledgeable about that, you're going to miss out. Secondly, what's that person's career? What do they do? What's their job? What's their company? What does it look like? How many employees? What's their role within that company? I want you to have very specifically in mind one person and what kind of role does that person have. So if you were going to choose one person that is your target audience, imagine it, envision it, please. What's their age? What's their job title? Okay. And then from there, what's their career path been and where are they moving? Because that's what you're going to be coaching for, right? And so we need to be mindful of what that path is going to be. What is their life like? Are they athletic? Do they have a family? If they're married, how many children do they have? And you say, well, it doesn't make any difference, does it? Well, it does make a difference, because your decisions will be different if you have family issues that you're working with. What kind of car does this person drive? What kind of interests and hobbies does this person have? What are their career goals? What are their biggest challenges that they face in their job, in their home? What are their ideals and their goals? Where are they going? What's their income? Is their income what they want it to be? Where do they want their income to go? Because that is going to impact you as a coach. So take that. I want you to form in your mind that picture. Go online, or you may have already a person that you have a picture of. download that picture, put it in front of you with the detail of this for the man and for the woman. Put a name with it. Because when we do all of that detail, what it does is it personalizes the client and enables us to speak to them much more effectively. So there's so much more, but these are the basics. I want to give you the basics right now. We're going to go into depth in our live event, but this will get you started, and I want you to start thinking about it. And we have down below, if you click, a little check sheet list that has these 2 columns listed out for you. Just download it and begin your thinking process. You'll be that much further ahead for us when we see you in Phoenix in December. Thanks much. And don't forget, comment and like us and subscribe. We can't wait to hear from you. Joe, do you have comments?
Yeah, just I know when I was just like you when I got started, and they're like, okay, you need to figure out what your avatar is. Well, I know who my avatar is. I know who I want to serve. As a coach, we tend to want to serve everybody. And the saying goes that if everybody is your client, then nobody is your client. And you'll find that that proves true absolutely every single time. So I'm going to, there's 2 things that you mentioned. I'm just going to put a couple terms to them that people might be able to, if they want to do some research on their own and figure some things out. You mentioned a lot of demographics, and demographics are those things like the age and the car and the house and whether they live in the suburbs or in the city. Is it a penthouse? Is it a single family home? Those are all demographics. How many kids do they have? What's their education? There's also these things called psychographics, and you mentioned some of those too. The psychographics are how you think and how you feel and how you react and the emotions that you experience when you walk into your job and you've been fired, or you walk into the new job and you're feeling elated. And what does your CEO feel when they have to fire somebody? These are important things to understand and to feel, because you want to, when you close your eyes, as you're defining your business, you should be able to close your eyes and feel exactly what your client is experiencing in a given moment. And what that does is it allows you to look through their eyes and through their problems so that you can write to it effectively, so that you can communicate your message to them in a way that they're going to be able to receive. And there's 5 really simple things that you can do that will help you do some of this. So we're asking you to click down below and download that worksheet. And that worksheet's going to have some quadrants on it so you can fill some things out. And that's kind of one step of the process. We want you to be able to define all those characteristics. And then we want you to do some research, because while you have this good idea, you have to remember that you only can see life through your lens. You need to go out there and you need to experience through research on the internet some of what other people see, how other people see life, so that you can include that in your avatar so you can begin to think through that process. You need to write it down, like Lois said. If you do not write it down, it never happened. It just never happened. It's like a goal. If you write a goal down, you have a 42% chance of achieving that goal, much higher chance of achieving that goal. There's a reason we write things down. You need to check out some of the common tools. We've given you a resource and a tool. There are literally hundreds of them out there. We've given you the best one, the one that we use when we developed our avatar. However, there's a lot of them out there. You need to find one that works for you. And the last thing you need to do, the 5th step that you need to consider, is figuring out what your negative avatar is. And here's what a negative avatar is. So say you've come up to the edge of a mountain and there's a boulder at the bottom of the mountain and it's bigger than you can push, and you have to have somebody beside you to help you push that boulder up over that mountain. The question is who don't you want beside you? Because not everybody will work with you to push that boulder up over the mountain. Your avatar is the person standing beside you that you're willing to team up with, you're willing to pair with, and is going to help you get that boulder over the mountain. So those are 5 things. I'll give them to you real quick. There's the characteristics, the research, the writing it down, the tools, and then figuring out who your negative avatar is. So if you put all 5 of those steps in place, you use the resource that we've given you, if you click down below, you're going to have a much, much better chance of really defining that avatar. And in any business, I'll promise you, you go look at any business, they have an avatar on the wall.
It's so, so true. Yeah.
I do want to say real quick, just because I know that this question is going to come up from some people. If you're a coach and you're not doing one-on-one coaching, but you're coaching in a more of a corporate setting or more of a team setting, you may have to have more than one avatar. So I just want you to bear that in mind. So if you need to print that sheet out that we've put down below, do it a couple times. And if you have specific questions that we might not have answered in this video, then I really want to encourage you to drop some comments down below so we can answer those questions for you, because that's what we're here for. We are here to support and to help you to grow your business, no matter whether you do it through our 4-day live event or whether you choose a different path. We still want to be able to help you and to enable you to be as successful as you want to be in this life. So Lois, I'm going to give it back to you to wrap things up for us today.
So it is so true that it sounds so basic, but the more you have it in your mind, the clearer it is, the better you will be. There's a wonderful story, and I'll wrap up with this story. It is told by Sally Helgeson, who I think is one of the most brilliant leaders in women's leadership. She wrote the book, How Women Rise. Her research is absolutely phenomenal. And one of the things that I learned from her was this story. She was in London doing some work, and she was on an elevator, and this very distinguished gentleman, and in his mid-30s, was standing next to her. And, you know, it was one of those big, tall buildings, and so the elevator takes a little while to make its way up. And a very distinguished businessman got on the elevator. Clearly, he was an executive, and they all stood there and there, you know, facing the door, you know, straightening their shirts. And this executive who had just gotten on turned to this middle-aged exec and said to him, "What do you do?" And he said, "I am an IT engineer. I work for this company. My expertise is in solving water problems in developing countries. I want to work in Africa with water development, and I know I can be successful because I grew up in Africa. I understand the issues, the culture, and I have the expertise." End of discussion. The door, they continued up, nobody spoke. The door opened, the executive got off, and before the doors closed, he turned around and he said, "I think I have somebody I want you to speak with." Took his business card and moved on. See, that was the simple brilliance of this gentleman absolutely knowing who he was going to work with, how he was going to work with them, and what he had to offer them. That's what we're going to help you to do. Refine it so clearly that everybody gets it, and it doesn't require a discussion. So we look forward to working with you. This is exciting stuff. It's incredibly important for your success, and we're here to help you.